So, a lot of people have a hard time getting long-term projects done, and that's often because they're starting with the wrong step. I'm Karen Dudek-Brannan, and I help pediatric therapists and educators be better leaders. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about a productivity tip that has been really helpful in helping me to do some of the longer term, big vision passion projects that I've had on my plate. The kind of things where if you have a full-time caseload, if you're teaching or if you're doing therapy full-time, it can be kind of hard to get to them and prioritize them. And they don't ever end up getting done. One specific example for me is that when I was doing my doctoral program, I had to do these administrative projects. And so one of the things that I wanted to do was redesign the way that my district did response to intervention, because I was a speech pathologist at the time, and it was really impacting the whole referral process for when kids were getting referred to special ed. And I had a lot of ideas about the way that we could improve things. But again, like it kept getting put on the back burner. And so partially for my doctoral program, I had to do some projects for just to get my administrative credential. But when I did those projects, I didn't just want to just check off a box and just have the class done. I actually wanted to do kind of a big project that would make a big impact on the district where I was working. But again, it was kind of easy to put things on the back burner. So that's because a lot of people have a hard time with this, because when they're thinking about productivity and their to-do list, they're thinking about one day at a time or one week at a time. And that's actually kind of a backwards way of doing things. The way that I did it is that I would think of things in 90-day blocks. And actually, if I had a really long-term project, I would actually start planning in 12 to 18-month blocks. And so I would break up that 12 to 18-month period into quarters, and then I would plan for one quarter at a time. So really the bulk of my planning when I was thinking about my to-do list would be about the current 90-day block. So the thing about a 90-day period is that it is kind of a shorter sprint. And so if you really map out what you're doing for the next 90 days, it allows you to think longer term. And yes, you can kind of loosely estimate what you're going to be doing 12 to 18 months out. But if you focus the bulk of your planning first on that 90-day period and figure out what you want to get done, it's a lot easier to work towards kind of a bigger picture, bigger vision, and not get caught up in just the day-to-day. And yes, eventually, once you've mapped out those longer term periods, and once you really have a good idea of what you're doing within that 90-day period, and you've kind of separated out the next 3 months in that 90-day period, then you can get more specific. And so you have a normal to-do list in the next 2-week period. But if you start with the 90-day blocks first, what that helps you do is to figure out what the bigger picture is. Put those things in your to-do list first. So when you're actually down to the minutia of what you're doing in the day-to-day, you can put things on your to-do list for that bigger project first before you do any of your other stuff. That way, it's that sacred time that gets blocked out so that you don't put it off. So you actually can do these projects that mean a lot to you, that do end up, in a lot of cases, sometimes they end up saving you more time in the long run. So that's what I do. That's what a lot of people do backwards, is that they don't start with that 90-day block, and they don't think of it that way. They don't chunk out their time that way first before they think about the day-to-day. And that can actually make a really big difference.